Okay, so picture this. You've just finished talking to someone, maybe a partner, a family member, could be anyone really, and you suddenly feel completely drained. Like your energy, which was fine just moments ago, has just plummeted.
Oh, yeah, that feeling.
Or maybe it's that feeling of constantly walking on eggshells, trying to manage someone else's mood all the time.
Yeah, losing your own peace in the process.
Exactly. What if you could, stop that? Stop that emotional bleed. What if you could actually shield your own inner peace, even with the people closest to you?
That's the goal.
That's what we're diving into today. Building emotional boundaries, protecting your energy and peace in relationships. We want to figure out how to create that protective bubble around yourself.
So you can witness other people's emotions, their storms, without letting them totally flood your own reality, keeping yourself intact.
Okay, so we've all felt it, that physical thing you mentioned, the energy drop when you talk to a certain person or have a tough conversation. What's actually happening there? Is it just us being sensitive?
No, not at all. It really highlights this critical need for emotional boundaries. Think of it like a personal force field.
Okay.
It's not about building this huge wall to keep everyone out. It's more subtle. It's about clearly defining, okay, these emotions are mine to deal with.
Right.
And those emotions, they belong to the other person. This boundary helps keep your emotional energy contained, and it stops others' emotions from just spilling into your space. It lets you observe their feelings, anger, sadness, whatever it is, without automatically taking it on board.
Taking it on as something you have to fix or react to.
Exactly. It's
Right.
not your responsibility to fix or solve or even necessarily react strongly to it.
So it's not just me being overly empathetic or thin-skinned then.
Definitely not. I mean, without these clear boundaries, other people's emotions can just flood into your inner space. It's like ink spreading through clear water.
Yeah, that's a good image.
And the result is often this really high reactivity. You might start feeling what they feel, or you feel this overwhelming need to jump in and fix their problems.
Or get really defensive if you feel disapproved of.
Right. Or react really strongly to disapproval. It's incredibly draining. It's almost like you're trying to navigate this tiny little boat in the middle of a massive storm.
Wow.
Completely at the mercy of this unpredictable sea of someone else's feelings. So yeah, it's not just about what they do.
It's how their emotional state messes with our internal state, our energy.
Profoundly, yes.
Okay, that makes so much sense. But then, if these boundaries are so important, so vital for our peace, why is it so hard? Why do so many of us struggle to actually set them? Especially, with the people we really care about, family, partners.
Yeah.
It feels kind of counterintuitive sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. And the struggle, well, it often starts way back.
Yeah.
In our childhoods, our formative years.
Right.
Think about it. If, as a kid, trying to assert your limit, saying no, expressing a different need, if that was met with negativity.
Like getting dismissed.
Dismissal, yeah. Or maybe emotional manipulation. Even punishment, subtle or not. We learned a really powerful lesson, subconsciously,
Which was?
that keeping the connection, keeping the relationship, meant sacrificing ourselves, our needs, our limits.
Can you give an example?
Sure, maybe a child tries to express a boundary and their mother bursts into tears and says, "How could you do this to me?"
Oh, wow. Okay. Guilt trip.
Big time. Or maybe a father reacts with anger or sulking or more guilt tripping when a kid tries to be independent. When setting a boundary leads to emotional pain or some kind of backlash.
You learn pretty quickly not to do it.
Exactly. You learn to avoid it. You prioritize keeping the peace, even if it means ignoring your own limits.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. So that guilt, that awful feeling we get when we even think about setting a boundary, it's not necessarily a sign we're being bad or selfish. It might actually mean something else entirely.
That's absolutely right. Guilt in these situations is often what we call a misdirected emotion.
Misdirected? How?
It's like a coping mechanism, really. It's
Yeah.
masking deeper stuff,
Yeah.
like a fear of rejection or just years of conditioning telling you that good people don't say no.
So the guilt is like a signal flare for an old wound.
Precisely. And what's really fascinating, and maybe a bit uncomfortable to realize, is that this guilt isn't just a passive feeling. It's often an active, subconscious strategy.
A strategy.
Yeah, that our brain uses to keep us locked into those old familiar patterns, even if they're unhealthy. It equates keeping the peace with self-sacrifice. It's like a survival mechanism that's outlived its usefulness and become self-sabotage.
Wow.
And it goes even deeper. We can sometimes confuse love, or at least intense connection, with having our boundaries constantly tested or ignored.
Because that's what felt familiar growing up.
Exactly. So we might unconsciously seek out relationships that recreate that dynamic, even though it causes us pain. And then there are our core beliefs.
The stories we tell ourselves.
Right. Which aren't facts, remember. They're more like magnets, attracting thoughts that support them. So if you grew up with a core belief like, I'm a failure if I don't succeed, or maybe I'm only lovable if I'm helpful.
Then saying no feels like failing or becoming unlovable.
Exactly. It triggers that core belief.
Yeah.
Breaking free from these ingrained patterns, these deep neural pathways, it takes real conscious effort. Patience, too.
Okay. So how do we start? How do we begin to actually reverse these patterns and build that protective boundary? What's the very first, actionable thing we can do?
It really truly starts with self-awareness. You have to know your limits.
Know your limits. Okay.
You need to get really honest with yourself about what specific behaviors, actions, interactions,
Yeah.
what makes you feel stressed out, disrespected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's actually causing the problem for you, you can't possibly fix it. It means asking yourself some direct questions.
Like, okay, if I say yes to this request, will it stop me from doing something else that's actually more important for me right now? Or will saying yes just make me feel even more tired and burned out than I already am?
Getting really clear on the cost of saying yes.
Exactly. It's that foundational step, clearly defining what you are and are not willing to accept in your life and your interactions.
All right, so let's say we do that work. We identify our limits. How do we then tell people? How do we communicate them without, feeling like a jerk or starting a huge fight, especially if we're used to just going along to get along?
Right, the communication piece. Once you know your limits, the key is to communicate clearly. And the best tool for this is using I statements.
The classic, I feel.
Exactly. It's classic for a reason it works. It's powerful because it expresses your experience, your needs, without blaming or accusing the other person. It shifts the focus. The structure is pretty simple, but really effective. I feel you name the emotion when you describe the specific situation or behavior, factually, because you explain the impact on you. I need you to state clearly what you want or need instead.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Instead of saying, you always dump tasks on me at the last minute, which is accusatory.
Right, puts them on the defensive immediately.
Yeah, you could try. I feel stressed when I don't get much notice for a task because I then have to scramble and reprioritize my whole workload. I need at least 24 hours notice for tasks you'd like my help with.
Okay, that feels much different. It's clear, it's about your experience, and it offers a solution.
Precisely. It respects both people and sets a clear expectation moving forward.
And then comes the hard part, maybe, the follow-through. Saying it once is one thing.
Yes. Consistency. You
Yeah.
absolutely have to be firm and consistent.
Stick to your guns.
You got it. Once you set that boundary, you have to stick to it. It's actually really normal for people to test it.
Test it, like push back.
Yeah, consciously or unconsciously. Especially if they're used to you being more accommodating. They might forget or push the limit again just to see if you really meant it.
Okay, so expect some pushback, maybe.
It's possible, but that consistency is what reinforces your boundary. It shows them, okay, they're serious about this. And a huge part of being consistent is learning to say no.
Just no.
Politely, but firmly, without feeling like you owe them a huge explanation or feeling guilty about it. Remember, saying no to something that drains you.
Allows you to say yes to something that refills you.
Exactly. Saying no to one thing means you can say yes to things that truly matter to you, like prioritizing self-care, things that actually rejuvenate your energy, a quiet night, a hobby, whatever it is for you.
This is really helpful. It leads us nicely into another concept, one that I think often gets really misunderstood. Detachment.
Yes, detachment.
When people hear that word, I think many immediately jump to thinking it means being cold or uncaring, aloof, just checking out emotionally.
That's a very common misconception.
But how does learning to let go, in the way you mean it, actually help protect our energy and peace in relationships?
Right. So detachment in this context isn't indifference at all. It's more about achieving a state of objectivity, being a bit aloof from outcomes.
Okay, objective about outcomes, not indifferent to people.
Exactly. It's about cultivating flexibility, letting go of the need to control how things turn out, especially letting go of trying to control other people or situations you simply can't control. It's about finding release from that constant frustration and disappointment when things don't go your way. The Buddha said it, thousands of years ago. The root of suffering is attachment.
Attachment to outcomes, attachment to how things should be.
Precisely. It's a mental framework, really.
Right.
One that many successful, peaceful people practice. It leads to a deeper inner calm.
So it's less about not caring and more about how we frame things, shifting our internal focus.
That's a great way to put it. You can absolutely still feel deep love, empathy, kindness, connection. All of that is still there when you practice healthy detachment.
Healthy detachment, I like that term.
It allows for change to happen more easily because you aren't rigidly clinging to one specific outcome. It helps you accept what is with more ease.
Which lets peace flow in rather than resistance.
Exactly. And this is incredibly powerful in relationships. Say, a partner tends to be negative sometimes, and you usually feel it drains your energy.
Yeah.
With detachment, you can still love them, support them, listen, but you don't get consumed by their internal weather, as you called it earlier. You can feel empathy without taking on their burden as your own.
That distinction is huge, empathy versus absorbing.
It is.
But we do tend to try and control things, don't we? Especially with people we love. We want things to go well for them, for the relationship. It feels like a natural instinct to try and steer things.
It does feel natural.
But you're saying that can actually cause more suffering.
It often does. Look, attachment itself, wanting a certain outcome, trying to influence things positively, that is a natural human emotion. We try our best to guide things towards a result we want.
Right.
But the problem arises when we get too attached, too obsessed with exactly how something should happen, when reality inevitably deviates from our perfect plan.
We experience fear, anger, disappointment.
Right. That intense attachment, that obsession, can actually block the very thing we want. It shows up as, being totally dependent on one specific outcome happening.
Or idealizing how things must be.
Yes. Or fantasizing about the perfect scenario, putting all your emotional eggs in one basket, essentially.
Oh.
It makes you rigid, unable to adapt when life throws curveballs or when other possibilities emerge.
So the ultimate aim isn't just setting boundaries for protection, but cultivating this inner state where, okay, you can want something, you can work towards it.
Absolutely. Pursue it passionately.
But you can genuinely live happily without it if it doesn't pan out exactly as you hoped. That sounds like real freedom.
It really is.
Yeah.
It means truly accepting that things might not go according to your blueprint, acknowledging there are things outside your control.
And knowing deep down that you'll be okay regardless.
Yes. Knowing you have the inner resources to handle whatever comes, it shifts the focus to your process, your actions, your skills, not just the external result. Realizing that happiness isn't some destination you reach if X, Y, and Z happen.
It's something you create right now, in the present.
Exactly. Day by day. Like Ron W. Rathbun said, true detachment isn't a separation from life, but the absolute freedom within your mind to explore living. It's enjoying the journey itself.
Wow, okay. This is incredibly powerful stuff. It feels like it could completely change how we navigate relationships. But how do we actually do it? How do we start acting non-reactively in the moment when emotions are high and our habit is to jump in or get sucked in?
Right. The practical application. The first step is actually quite simple, but profound.
Yeah.
Just notice your reactivity when it bubbles up.
Notice it, become aware of the feeling itself.
Yes. Pay attention to your body. What does it feel like when you start getting pulled into someone else's emotional vortex? Is it tightness in your chest? Heart racing, that knot in your stomach.
Okay, so tuning into the physical sensations.
That self-awareness is your first line of defense. As you notice it, just mentally, gently remind yourself, this isn't mine.
This isn't mine.
You're making that distinction. Their emotion ends here, mine begins here.
Okay, then what?
Then you consciously choose to act non-reactively.
Choose, okay.
So for instance, your partner comes home venting about a terrible day. You can still be incredibly compassionate. You can empathize deeply.
Saying something like, gosh, that sounds really rough. I'm so sorry you went through that.
Exactly. Validate their feelings. But resist that automatic urge to jump in with solutions unless they ask, or to let their frustration dictate the mood for the whole evening. Remember, their conflict is with their boss or the situation, not with you.
Right. Maintain your own center.
Or another example.
Yeah.
Maybe parents are trying to guilt trip you about a life choice you've made. You can acknowledge their feelings.
I hear that you're disappointed. Or I know this isn't what you hoped for.
Perfect. Acknowledge their perspective, but then firmly, kindly reiterate your own stance. But I'm really excited about this new direction for my career.
And if they keep pushing, if the guilt tripping or negativity continues.
then you might need to politely exit the conversation on your own terms. You could say something like, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, but I need to shift my focus now. Or, let's talk about something else. You protect your peace.
Okay. I can see how doing that, especially at first, could feel really uncomfortable, maybe even selfish, or like you're being uncaring. It's such a shift from how many of us learn to respond.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so important to be kind to yourself during this process.
Expect the discomfort.
Expect it, and actually see it as a good sign. That discomfort often means you're right at your growth edge.
Your growth edge, I like that.
You're literally strengthening your boundary-setting muscle. Every single time you choose a new non-reactive response, that muscle gets stronger. It gets easier.
It's like building any other skill.
Exactly. And remember, the goal isn't some kind of complete robotic emotional detachment. We're human. We're meant to feel. It's natural to feel sad when someone you love is sad.
So it's not about not feeling.
Not at all. It's about finding that healthy middle ground, a place where you can feel, you can respond lovingly, you can connect deeply with others' emotions.
Without letting those emotions completely take over your own reality.
Precisely. Without letting them stop you from being your own separate, independent person within the relationship. It's about having your own distinct emotional reality alongside theirs.
Okay. So wrapping this up a bit, we've covered some really crucial tools here for building these emotional boundaries, knowing your limits.
Communicating clearly with those I statements.
Being consistent, following through.
Prioritizing self-care, saying no when you need to.
And this really deep, powerful framework of healthy detachment.
It really is a journey, isn't it? Self-awareness, compassion for yourself and others, and actively taking back control of your emotional landscape.
Yeah.
And just remember, you really cannot control other people. You can influence, maybe, but not control. What you absolutely control is your response, your own peace.
That's where the power lies.
Every time you make that conscious choice to prioritize your well-being, to say yes to yourself, you reinforce that protective inner space.
Yeah.
You empower yourself to live with more calm, more fulfillment, more freedom.
So thinking about what this means day to day, if true detachment really is, as that Tibetan Buddhist Saraha said, the ultimate pleasure.
Powerful words.
Imagine how much more joy, how much more freedom and just genuine inner peace you could find by simply allowing others to own their own emotional weather.
Wow, you to bask in your own sunshine.
Yeah, freeing yourself up. Okay, so maybe a final thought for everyone listening to consider.
Yeah.
What is just one small boundary, just one tiny step you could commit to practicing today, just for yourself, to maybe reclaim a little bit more of your own energy, your own peace in your relationships?
That's a great place to start. One small step.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. This has been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure. Important topic.